Welcome one, welcome all. I am Bridger, and today we're back with Fields of Fire starting on turn 4 of this scenario. Our objective is to reach this area here and this area here. We got some hedgerows that we're supposed to take, the attack position where we're supposed to start our final assault from. If you actually follow through on the plan you set up, you get some extra points that way. Those are our main objectives. We've been making very good time overall. We made it through the first 2 rows with very little resistance. There was an enemy mortar spotter here in these woods. They got taken out fairly quickly. And this assault team got relieved of the incoming fire that it somehow was surviving. However, when we got to the woods over here, an enemy mortar spotter, this bastard right here, was calling down very accurate, very good fire at the squad that we sent over to those woods. And they lost, well, they got a casualty step, they got a paralyzed step, and they've got a fire team left over. That's all that's left from the squad that was there. Speaking of that, I didn't really talk about how casualties and hits work in this system. A lot of systems will just use the unit has 4 steps and every step it loses some combat capability or something like that. This game is slightly different. You do have squads that, for example, have 3 yellow dots in the bottom. That's 3 steps. That's about 10 guys, 3 to 4 guys per step, generally speaking. But when they take a hit, the most common effect is that 1 or sometimes 2 of those steps will split off to become weaker versions of that squad. A fully intact squad can perform any and all combat actions, any and all move actions that it's normally capable of. However, when it takes those hits, you look in this bottom part of the card and the letters will tell you what kind of hits they suffer. If there's 2 letters, they suffer 2 hits. If there's 1 letter, they suffer 1 hit. If it's an A, it means that the 1 step is broken off and turned into an assault team. An assault team is almost as combat effective as a regular squad. It is slightly different in that it is always a line level, so even if your veteran unit takes an assault hit, it's going to break off a team that is slightly less effective because of its veterancy. Then you have the fact that the assault team is limited to only point-blank range, which means it can only fire on its own card. It cannot fire to adjacent cards. However, the assault team can still perform most combat maneuvers. It can't travel with a platoon because if it's detached, I guess the assumption is that they're not functioning as a squad anymore and they're not able to communicate properly to have, hey, the whole platoon move out together. But they can do most other actions, including firing on their own card automatically, or performing grenade attacks on their own card, concentrating fire, things like that. So an assault team is actually useful outside of taking a hit. If you remember from the first scenario, the first video of this rather, I actually broke off an assault team to send out forward as a scout because I did not want to go into this open field with my entire platoon or even an entire squad. There's just no cover there, and I was very worried about an enemy machine gunner or something opening up from deeper in the enemy line. So assault teams can be useful. However, if you take a hit as an assault, even if just an assault team breaks off, every hit always is going to pin your squads, which severely limits what they can do. Number 1, it puts them out of visual verbal communication within their own card. Normally, if a leader came up to this card, he could give these guys orders and say, hey, move over there, shift your fire that way, concentrate your fire to be more effective, perform a grenade attack with your rifle grenades or something like that. But when the units are pinned, he cannot give them any orders except attempt to rally them out of a pinned state. These guys have their heads down. They're kind of firing back, but not very effectively. Pinned fire is much less effective than regular fire. And they are not willing to do much, even if somebody is screaming at them, unless the person screaming at them first gets them to pay attention and say, hey, listen to my orders. Now, they can be unpinned. This guy can give them that order, and they can unpin themselves if they have a general initiative order that they can give. So that's what happens with regard to let me undo this, blah, 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 blah. That's what happens with regard to the assault team. still somewhat useful, but is slightly restricted and always pinned. All hits will pin. Then you have the fire team. Now, the fire team is automatically green veterancy, which means it's about half as effective at everything it's able to do because it's only pulling one card for concentrating fire, grenade attacks, everything. In fact, a fire team can still do movement. It can still do grenade attacks and concentrate fire, but just like the assault team, it can't do platoon-wide actions that you can normally give as an order for movement or grenade attacks or something like that. So fire team, less effective because it is more restricted. Specifically, it can't move on to a card that is under fire or is unoccupied by friendlies. So you can't use fire teams to scout. They're too cowardly. They're not willing to do it. Now, you could rally anybody up this chain to make them more effective with your leaders. So a fire team could be rallied up to an assault team, and then they would be willing to move forward. So a fire team is someone who's kind of effective, but not as effective as a full squad normally would be. You'll notice the assault team has this A value for automatic weapons, slightly better than the S value for small arms, but they're limited to point-blank range, and a fire team is limited to only close range, which is one card away. Meanwhile, a full squad has long range, so it can see 2 cards away. So if these guys down here had long range, they could see all the way over to this card or all the way over to this card, assuming the intervening terrain allowed it. It doesn't here. All this dark green means that you can't trace through, unlike the white terrain that we see over here, which allows line of sight to trace right through this gully, but not through the sides because the green is on the side and the white is on the bottom. Hopefully that makes sense to people that are paying attention. Anyway, fire teams, slightly more restricted, slightly less effective, more likely to take more bad hits because they're green. Litter teams, even more limited in what they can do. They don't even fire back anymore, and they cannot perform any of those combat actions like concentrating fire or grenade attacks. The only thing they're willing to do is pick up a comrade and drag him back closer to friendly lines. So if you have a litter team in the same area, the same card as you have a casualty, the litter team is willing to, and even automatically does, drag them back closer to friendly lines. So they will travel back closer to friendly lines if you order them to, regardless, but they'll also automatically drag casualties back. That's why they're called a litter team. They're not combat capable anymore, but you can still order them to do something useful. Paralyzed humans, on the other hand, completely unusable. They are so panicking right now. They're just cowering in a hole behind a tree, something. They're not willing to work with you at all. And casualties are casualties. You can't get them back. But as I said, you can rally these guys up the chain back to being more effective. And if you had a couple of these guys together on a card, like say you have these 3 guys here together on the card, you could reconstitute a squad that originally was here. So that's entirely possible to do with the way the casualty system works. And that allows a lot of granularity. Okay, so we're going to delete these guys and get back into the game itself. Somebody asked for a little bit of a tutorial on how placing enemy packages onto the map works. So thematically, what's going on here is we have essentially cleared out, not cleared, but we have I guess cleared is the correct term, right? Cleared out this card. There's no enemies on it. And when we went there, nobody started shooting at us because there was nobody looking in this direction. This card with the potential contact means that there could be some enemies, but not on this card. Rarely is an enemy placed directly on the same card as this potential contact. That would be like sort of an ambush thing. But typically what they're going to be doing is when you walk onto this card, you check and see, is there an enemy waiting right up here in a trench with a machine gun pointed straight at you? Is there a mortar spotter up in the trees over here ready to call down fire on that card? So as you get closer to the enemy main line, it becomes more likely that you'll see enemies a card or 2 or 3 away shooting at you if it's possible to do so. So that's what we're going to show in a little bit, I'm sure, because our new plan here. The squad on the left is really just done for. Now, we do need to take out this spotter ASAP, or even if he kills these guys, he's going to start turning his mortars on us. So we can't just leave him there. The problem is, it's really hard to see a mortar spotter in cover a card away. Even if you're on the same card as him, it's basically impossible to find the dang guy. You got to spend a lot of orders to do it, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. The other thing we have to deal with here is we've got these, we've got a squad with MG42 here, a squad with an MG42, and an MG42 on a tripod here that all are pouring fire into this village, which otherwise would be a fantastic position with which to assault the enemy line because it's got a lot of really good cover. So I don't think I want to move into this village. What I'd like to do is have this a third platoon guy, sorry, wrong color, have this third platoon guy moving up onto this card because that will let him immediately conduct a grenade attack against this bunker. Now, it's a bunker, so he's got some good cover there already, but grenade attack is probably the best chance we're going to have. It's also going to be easier to spot him once we're on that card. So that's the plan for this squad. Move up here and spot this guy, conduct a grenade attack, and we'll see how well that goes. Meanwhile, I want the balance of third platoon to probably... I know I want the balance of first platoon to move up to this card here. And that's the wrong color again. I want the balance of first platoon to move up to this card here because I want them to be able to put pressure on this mortar spotter and on the other, potentially the other cards here. I wouldn't normally want third platoon to come up into this gully, especially because there's not a lot of them left. And this gully doesn't have a lot of cover from the front. This is only a one cover because it's coming across the white line here. But I think we need something else that can put fire up here, so I need to take two positions. So that's the plan. Rule the world. You and me anyway. Let's begin. Bingo. So we start, like we do every turn, with our battalion headquarters activating our company headquarters, and the company headquarters draws and gets 4 orders. That's pretty good. The company headquarters, by the way, back here, normally it would need to keep up with the squads and stay within radio range, but those are all being abstracted now to make the scenario a little bit easier for you to learn. So that's what we're just playing through with here. Now, we know that we're going to probably need first and third platoons to do their thing. So here's first platoon is here. And we're moving everybody else up to show that they are capable. Third platoon, we definitely want to activate. Second platoon has a lot of orders stored up. So I think I'm going to activate XO and First Sergeant. And we'll see how well that goes. But we're not going to activate second platoon. Company headquarters is now fully done. Moving back to the sequence of play, we can see that we are done with the company headquarter impulse. We're now moving on to the platoon slash company staff impulse. The company staff being the, close off here, the company staff being the first sergeant and the XO. So with that, I'm going to need, the XO actually to come up and order third platoon's third squad here because I want first platoon to go up onto that card, but first platoon headquarters doesn't have the authority to order third platoon's squads around. So the first thing that happens is I'm going to order Company XO. Oh, sorry. First thing that happens is Company XO has to draw his card. And he says reshuffle, but he gets a 5 before the reshuffle. So that gives him 7. Excellent. So he's going to move up. You know what? I take it back. I'm not going to redraw. I'm just going to draw for first platoon first, actually, out of all this. So just remember that this is coming back. Okay. So let's draw for first platoon first. And they get, a 6. They already had 2, so they've got 8. Nope, not first sergeant. Sorry, first platoon. So I want first platoon up here, and then hopefully when we get there, we can try to spot with a lot of the rest of these orders. So first platoon is going to order everybody under his command to advance to this card. And unfortunately, that does mark them all as exposed, but so far, nobody's shooting at this card. That was a 2-order action, so he spent 2. Now, we're going to have him attempt to spot, but who? I think we want to attempt to spot this machine gun team, because this machine gun team should be 2 cards, if I'm not mistaken. So the machine gun team doesn't have a cover value of 3 or more, nor does it have a 0, nor is it on a higher elevation. Like, it's none of these things, but it is in cover, and it is a VOF rating of A for automatic weapons. Those cancel out, so we're just going to be pulling 2 cards. So order, say, the first squad to spot this guy, and we're looking for a crosshair, and we got it. We got it twice, actually. So he is now spotted. What that does is it immediately causes everybody in this card to open up on that machine gun. And that didn't quite do what I wanted, but that's okay. Spotting him was important, and now we're going to pull the VOF marker for automatic weapons and put it here, because we've got a machine gun that's firing up there. We also have a second squad, and we've got this mortar. So rather than sending this third squad from 3rd platoon up onto the card as I originally thought, I think what we're going to do is try some long-range fire from here to take out that machine gun as best we can. So we could use the mortar spotter. I was thinking about using it elsewhere, but I think I want to use it here. We just don't have that many orders left. Actually, we do, don't we? We do have enough orders to call in lots of help. Okay, so let's start with this grenade attack on this here. Grenade attacks require us to first spend the 1 order to order the mortar team to perform a grenade attack. They have to do it along the primary direction of fire, so that's what they're going to do. And we do 1, 2, looking for a grenade. We didn't get it. I think I want to exhort him. Try to rally that guy to do a better job. And we got it. We got it. So the grenade did show up on the 3rd try. So that is a grenade attack specifically against this guy and his fortifications. You can only perform a grenade attack against a specific piece of cover or a specific enemy that's out in the open. And so that's good. So this guy's actually, instead of just receiving the -1, he's receiving a lot more. Next, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do next? We've got the ability to order our 2nd squad of 1st platoon to fire their rifle grenade. They only have this 1 shot, but if it's successful, grenade attacks are the only volumes of fire that stack together. So instead of a -4 attack against this bunker, it'll be a -8. So that's what we're going to try to do. So we're ordering a grenade attack using the rifle grenade from this 2nd squad of 1st platoon. And we're hoping to see that grenade. 1, 2, we didn't see it. We're going to exhort them 1 more time. They got it. Oh, lucky day, lucky day. So that bunker is going to be in trouble pretty soon. That's very good news. Meanwhile, we are out of orders for 1st platoon. And I got to see, can we use the mortar field officer to call in fire not along the primary direction of fire? I think we can. Yeah, as far as I can tell, we can. I do remember seeing ranged grenade attacks, and I got to delete this 1-shot grenade thing here. Oh, no, I didn't want to return to. There we go, delete. I do remember reading that grenade attacks, if they're conducted at range, must be conducted along the primary direction of fire. So I could not have chosen to do a grenade attack over here, assuming that guy was spotted. I had to do a grenade attack along the primary direction of fire. So we're hoping that that is going to silence that machine gun. But in the meantime, the XO is now going to take their turn. And unfortunately, this is the same impulse, the platoon headquarters / staff impulse. So the units that performed the previous actions cannot perform those same actions again. There's only 1 action you can perform multiple times in a single impulse, and it's move within a card. So now we're going to need to choose some other guys to spot here. We got lucky on the first spot when we were going against that guy. We're going to try to spot this particular mortar spotter. So who's going to do that? We're going to have the mortar field officer. We're going to give them an order to try and spot that mortar guy. But where? Oh, XO has to move up first. So XO moves up. And yes, he is, he's going to be exposed. He's going to order this guy to try to spot the mortar spotter. Now, we only pull 1 card because, well, the mortar spotter is very good at hiding. And we did not get Crosshair, so we didn't get him. Now, we've got, let's see, one. He can order himself to try to spot. Let's try that. So now he's down to 4. He got him. Yes. Finally nailed that sucker. Excellent. Now he's going to order the mortar guy to call in fire on the village, which is beautiful. That's what we're going to do. So now we're saying goodbye to our litter team here, but you got to do what you got to do. The question is, what kind of fire do we want to call in? All right, I think we're going to attempt to call in a high explosive attack. So we're going to get to roll, well, draw 3 cards and look for explosions. 1, 2, 3. Oh, dang it. Really want this to work. I'm going to exhort here as well, which is really just spend 1 more command to draw 1 more card. Dang it. We really needed that mortar to work. We could try again in the general initiative, and maybe we will. In the meantime, we've got 2 more to spend here with the company XO. Let's have him ask the guys over in the machine gun team to try to spot the enemy on this card. They are in cover, but they are an automatic weapons team squad, so that is also 2 pulls. We got it. All right. They are also visible to us now. And that was probably the last one we want the XO to perform. Let's have him retire and hold on to that 1 order. Now, we could activate 3rd platoon, which is the green ones here. I'm going to move them up into the draw and then try to find as much cover as possible, as long as I have enough. Let's see. Cards 3. He's got 5. He performs a platoon move. That takes 2. He's only got 3 left. It might be enough, though. Yeah, okay. There's a limit of 16 steps per card, and we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We can't send 3rd platoon to the attack position. It's just not going to work. But we do want them up there to support. So we'll do this, and they'll be exposed, and now they've got 3 left. We're going to try and send 1st squad to get some cover. So we're going to pull 2 cards and look for the cover button. Oh, we didn't get it. Okay, now we're going to try to send the 3rd squad, or 2nd squad, to get some cover. They found it, and that's the only cover that we're going to find. So 3rd squad's in cover, and everybody else is just exposed at the moment. He's got 2 left. He's going to save them. I could order some more people under cover. Technically, I could also order 3rd platoon headquarters under cover. The problem there is then he won't be able to, well, under normal rules, he would not be able to receive radio communications, which feels a little weird to me. Like they ducked down behind a tree, and now the radio guy can't just send the antenna outside. I don't know. Just is what it is. I get it. They're limited in how far they can move to get the radio signal. It is what it is. So we're going to be concerned about this potential contact A that's listed right here, but we're taking the risk. The other thing we're going to do is 1st Sergeant is just going to store some orders. So he only got 2 anyway. So he's going to store some orders here because I really would like him to go up this left side here with the special weapons from 1st platoon. But I don't have any hope that the mortar spotter is going to be disabled in time. So that's not going to happen. So 1st Sergeant's going to save his orders. Now we're on the platoon initiative. 2nd platoon is going to try to activate. They were not activated by the headquarters, so they only get the small number, which is 3, which still brings them to 9, which is very good. We reshuffle the deck. They are going to move up into the open fields. So all of these guys, including the artillery field officer, moving up here and becoming exposed. That cost them 2 orders. Then they're going to spend 1 more order to continue having the assault team sort of scout out these open fields. I'm just very hesitant about sending an entire squad out there into the open fields. The rest of the mission is going well enough. I don't want to risk too many steps. We don't have to push too hard. We're only on turn 4, and we're already within walking distance of the secondary and primary objectives. So that's probably all we want to do for 2nd platoon. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something I might have. 1st platoon could have done 1 more thing, or the XO could have done 1 more thing, right? He could try to make them concentrate fire, but we're already doing grenade attacks, so I don't think that makes any sense. So 2nd platoon is going to save what they've got there. And then we're going to go on to general initiative. So we pull one and look at the small number. We got a 0. No general initiative. I really hope that we could try it for another shot at that mortar field off a forward observer, bringing down some fire, but that did not work out. So the only best bet we've got here is the double grenade attack happening over here, which should be very successful, but we'll have to see. Next part of the sequence of play, the enemy will see if they have a higher HQ, and they do. We see here that the higher HQ radio symbol is present when we pull the card. So we've got to do another random number generator for 1 through 10, and we can see here that we got a 2. So now I'm going to take a quick look at the scenario and find out what that means. Keep up the fight. Here we go. Higher HQ event, a 2 on turns 4. 2 to 4 is rally. Remove all pinned markers from enemy units. Well, they're rallied. Excellent. Done. Next, we move on to the enemy activity check. So we have to roll a random die and determine which enemy is going to be first. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we pull a random 4. We got a 3, which means we're going to check out what this machine gun is planning to do. And I'm not going to show this every time, but I'll show it again here for posterity. Posterity, does that make sense? Over here, we can see that we have this enemy defense activity check hierarchy, and we're looking down this list to find the first one that applies to this situation. So is it on the same card as an enemy unit? No. On the same card? No. Is it an automatic weapon with a tripod? Yes. With an out of ammo marker? No. Is it not under enemy fire? It's definitely under enemy fire. Is it under enemy fire but not under cover? No, it is under cover. Under enemy fire from a different direction to its own primary direction of fire? Yes. So it is fighting with deliberate tactics. That's what the scenario says. So we're looking at the third column here, and we're going to roll a 1 to a 4, and we get a 2, which is actually a grenade attack or concentrate fire. Now, it's not possible for a squad that does not have a G exclamation point rating to perform a grenade attack anywhere other than its own card. So what they're going to do instead is attempt to concentrate fire on this village here. So they're going to pull 2 cards, 1, 2, and they did not get a jam or a concentrate fire reticle here, crosshairs. So it's just ineffective. That's all that happens. So now let's go on to find out what the next one is. 1, 2, 3, and we pull it's a 2. So we're going to check out this squad here, the other one that we spotted, and find out what their situation is. They are not under fire, but has a valid target along its PDF. That is true. So they are going to pull right here, and it's actually an automatic, we can see. They are automatically going to attempt to concentrate fire because we don't have them under fire, so they're just going to pour it on. So let's see if they concentrate fire. They were able to definitely successfully concentrate fire. Ooh, you know what? Enemies that have a tripod, one of the things that a tripod does is it increases the number of cards that you can draw when attempting to concentrate fire. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, they didn't get it. That's fine. These guys still got their concentrate fire. So what that does is it places a concentrate fire modifier on the specific enemy. Concentrate fire is always on a specific enemy or group of enemies, something like that. What's more, I don't know if you noticed, we actually had 2 successful crosshair icons when this unit attempted to concentrate fire, which actually means it's a critical hit concentrate fire. And it's not undercover, which means that we just place a second concentrate fire here. That litter team is toast. There's nothing I can do to save them. If I had a couple of general initiative options, I could have ordered them to unpin themselves or attempt to unpin themselves and then run to cover. But that ain't happening. Nope, not happening here. So anyway, these guys are done. Now we've only got 1 and 2. So we roll for that and it's a 1. So let's see what this team is going to do. They're probably automatically going to concentrate fire as well. Nope, we want this one here. There we go. Under fire, not under fire, but has a valid target. Yes, they're going to automatically do a concentrate fire. So they're going to roll 1, 2, but they miss. No more concentrate fire. It's already as bad as it can get for that poor litter team. Now we got to find out what this mortar spotter is going to do. He has different rules, though. This is his order of operations. He's not pinned. He does have fire missions remaining. He's in good order with fire missions remaining. So he's going to attempt to call fire down. And his primary target is wherever his mortar concentration marker is. And I believe in this scenario, he calls down 3. Well, he calls down 2, but he gets an extra +1 for this mortar concentration. So let's see if he's able to call down more fire on those poor guys in the woods. 1, nope, 1, there it is. 2, 3. Okay, well, unfortunately, those poor bastards are still dealing with an enemy spotter with another pending fire mission down into the woods there. So normally, this fire team would at least put some fire out into the village now that it's been spotted. But with this incoming marker, he can't see out of the hex, out of the card that he's in. So it is what it is. So now we're done with the enemy activity check. We're going to move on. Mutual captures and retreat segment. Let's see. Capture paralyzed litter team. No. No prisoners. Retreat segment. Any unpinned paralyzed teams. That's not true. We have paralyzed teams that are pinned. So those guys are kind of trapped where they are. Meanwhile, we'll go on to the fire mission update segment, which is going to remove this and flip this. And I'm just going to press the button to do it automatically because that's fun. And then we go on to the big stuff, potential contact evaluation segment. So we've got 2 A contacts that need to be resolved. We're going to roll a random number to decide between them. We have 1 on the left, 2 on the right. We got a 1, so that's the one we're going to resolve first. And somebody asked for this to be walked through, so we're going to walk through this right now. So essentially the way that this works is that we are going to first pull a number of cards looking for the word contact, just like this in the top, and the number of cards we pull is dependent on the particular type of contact that we're in. So if there's no contact, then A's and B's are automatic, and then C, you draw 4 cards. If there is contact, then we do 7, 5, or 3. If it's engaged, 5, 3, or 2. Right now, we are, however, heavily engaged. There's more than 1 card under a VOF/PDF, and we have unit cards with at least 1 unit from both sides on it. So that's this card right here, the village. So that means we're going to pull 3 cards for A and see if any of them say the word contact on it. 1, 2, 3. No, we got lucky, but we've got another one to do, and this one is arguably much worse because of the open fields, but it's also less worse because it's only 1 step. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got lucky, but for the sake of demonstration, let us show how that would work if, say, we got an enemy doing contact against the open fields here. So we would take a look at the scenario, which shows us the different packages that can come out. But more importantly, the first thing we do is this right here. Ooh, that's the wrong color. This right here, which is we're going to roll a random number based on which type of contact it is. It's an A, so we're rolling in this column right here. So let's roll the random number, and it is a 9. So let's go back to that there and check out what a 9 would be. A 9, not the 9 on the left, but the 9 in this column is also coincidentally a 9 on the left, but 8 to 10 equals package number 9. So let's see what that looks like. That is the main defensive line. This is probably one of the most complicated packages because what it does is it orders you to place 2 other packages. By the way, one of those packages has you placing 2 different squads. This is what happened before, but we're going to be more granular in how we go about this. So it says place each squad and heavy machine gun on a separate card at maximum line of sight, and then per the contact location table. So let's look at the contact location table. That's this thing right over here. Where is this contact happening? We're going to say this is happening right here in the open fields for this example, right? And that means we're in row number 4, column number 4, right? This is column number 4. That's where this is happening. And why does that matter? It's because if we're in column 4, we're going to roll a random 1 out of 5. If it's a 1 or a 2, the enemy is going to be firing from this front left direction. If instead it's a 3 to a 4, they're going to be firing directly from the front. And if it's a 5, they will be firing from outside of our sector. We're assuming that there's another company moving up on the right of us. That's why we have these boundaries. We're not allowed to move to the right of these boundaries. We can fire at enemies in those boundaries, but we're not allowed to move over them to avoid friendly fire situations. Because maybe we've already moved further past and the enemy and the friendly company here is going to see our units and shoot at them. We don't want to do that. So we have our own sector. But that doesn't stop enemies outside of our sector from shooting us. Okay? So let's go ahead and roll that random number and see what we get. 1 out of 5. We got a 4. So that means we're going to put the first thing, and I'm just going to go in order here. So it was package 5 was the first one. So it's a machine gun bunker. It says a heavy machine gun team in a bunker. And by the way, they are going to immediately open fire because it says yes to placing PDF. In fact, you'll notice the vast majority of enemies, when you place them, will immediately open fire because that's how you noticed them. They started shooting at you. That's why we're putting them on the map. There's only one situation where that isn't true, and that's if you happen to see an enemy squad while they're maneuvering from one position to another. In that case, they're not shooting at you. You get a chance to shoot at them because not only are they not shooting, but they are spotted, and so you can immediately start shooting at them. Meanwhile, all of these other situations, then the enemy is not initially spotted. You have to take time and orders on your own turn to spot them in order to return fire. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's grab the machine gun bunker and place it at maximum range directly in front of this open field. So we're going to grab that out of the unit pieces. We're looking for MGs. Here's the HMG, and we got to grab a bunker, which we can do with a right-click menu here. Cover, bunker. Okay, so we got our machine gun. We got our bunker. Now, what's the maximum range of these things? It's very long range. So very long range is 3 cards away. Now, we know that the enemy, if we placed this on a card up here, they wouldn't be able to shoot through this orchard because the top and bottom of the orchard are both green. Even if one of them was green, it would stop line of sight. However, there's possibility that there is a hill set up right here. And if there is a hill in this location, then the machine gun can shoot over that terrain and hit our guy. One of the first priorities of setting up your units for these packages is to try to, let's see, drawing and placing enemy units. There we go. Here's the priorities for you, is to try to make sure that the units can open fire on the triggering unit. That's rule number 4 here, right? So we do want to check to see if there is a hill here. We'll place the guys here because they're opening up at maximum range. But if there isn't a hill here, then these guys get placed here. So we grab from our mission deck, and it's not a hill. Now, technically, these guys are very long range, so we should go one more up this way and check for a hill there. But I failed to take into account that the mission might go a little bit further up, and I don't actually have any room up there. And rather than try to move the entire board, I am just going to go ahead and say, yeah, these guys are in a bunker right here, right? For the sake of this particular demonstration. Okay, so that happened, right? Now, the same thing is going to happen with the other parts of this package. So we place the machine gun bunker. Now that's package 5, and they are unspotted. So we have to make sure we put an unspotted marker on them. Mark as, oh no, maybe it's here. Where is it? Oh, sorry. That's a friendly. That's a friendly team. Somebody out there's been yelling at the screen the whole time. We need a German HMG team to make this look, at all proper. There we go. Now we can find the unspotted, mark as unspotted. There we go. So that's how we would set up that. Now we would go to package 6. Package 6 says a squad in a trench and a squad in a trench. And it says, just like this says down here, each squad has to be on a different card. Oops, don't close that. So what that means is, if we roll randomly and we get this card again, we have to re-roll until we get a different card. And so that might mean, just like we had over here, squad, machine gun set out in a straight line like this. Or if we had, and I probably should have put check for hills in the back here, and I think I didn't. Well, I did check for a hill here, and I didn't get it. I didn't check for a hill here, and I should have. Oh no, because this was a hill, I just wanted. Well, there's very little chance that that's a level 2 hill, so we're just going to place it as it lies. But I did go all the way out here checking for a hill when I was setting up this guy. Because he would have been attacking from this direction. So it's possible he could have been attacking from a hill way back here. But anyway, you get the idea. Let's roll for these other 2 squads and find out where they would hypothetically be placed. In this case, we know that we can only have one type of German unit squad with the same name because that's how the counter mix is set up. So we already have number 3 and number 2 out here. So I'd pull out number 4. Number 4 and number 1. And that's the maximum number of squads that I can have. The scenario tells me which squads I can have out. So now we're going to pull for one of them, let's say the machine gun team here, the machine gun squad here first. So they are going to try to decide if they're going here from the front left, from the center, or from the right. And we pull and we get out of 5 a 1. So they are over here. And we can potentially assume that there might be a hill up here that they're shooting in this direction from. So we'll go ahead and pull a card to see if that's the case. And it is a hill, in fact. So now we have to get one more piece of terrain to make sure we know what it is. It's a woody hill. And we'll give them a hill symbol there. So that's where that machine gun team is set up at long range. See the L? He can shoot over this terrain and into the open fields. We also then need to give him, and we need to give the other guy too, a PDF showing which direction he's pointed at. Same with this guy. He's firing in this direction. The VOF here is an automatic weapons VOF because it's actually coming from multiple directions. So we have to also put a crossfire. Nope, not concentrate fire. A crossfire. There it is. To stack on with that. And so you can see we've got the PDF coming in this way, and we've got the PDF coming in the other way. Now, we just have to figure out where this squad goes, and we're doing the same thing. It's going to be 1 or a 2 over here, 3 or a 4 here, 5 here. Only difference is this squad has the same long-range maximum, so if we do a 1 or a 2, we're going to have to re-roll. If we do a 3 or a 4, we'll also have to re-roll. Therefore, the only place this guy can go is to the front right. So let's go ahead and pull up our terrain here and see what we get. That is a hedgerow bocage. And then up here, if we get a hill, we did not get a hill. So he has to be placed here because he cannot shoot through the terrain. Now, if this terrain was like a big open field, then we don't have to worry about whether there's a hill here. Any terrain here can see through a big open field. It's only because this is blocking terrain that we have to check for a hill behind it to see, was it possible for him to shoot from up here all the way to the card that triggered these package placements. Hopefully that now makes sense. I'm going to go back to what I actually rolled, which is none of these guys got placed. All right, so we are back. We're done with the potential contact evaluation segment. We got really lucky and got no enemy contact on either of those cards. We pulled 6 cards and got no contact icons at the top here, or words rather. So very lucky for us. All the big fighting is going to happen here. Now, if we go to take objective number 2, entirely possible that we see enemy forces pop up here to fight us, but at least for now, we're doing okay. So the next step is the big pinned recovery segment. If we had guys that were pinned that were not under a volley of fire, if this mortar spotter had failed to call in a mortar here, then these guys that are paralyzed, they would instead be able to get up and you know, once the fire stops, they're ready to try to rejoin society, so to speak. So now we're going past that because I don't think there's any pinned units that are not under fire. So we go straight to the combat effects segment, and we're going to go card by card and play it out. Over here, we're going to start from the top and just make our way down. This machine gun team is under a double grenade attack. We've got the mortar making a grenade attack and a rifle grenade attack from one of our squads. I think it was this squad here. The second squad of 1st Platoon was throwing a rifle grenade attack over there. And remember, grenade attacks just mean attacks that are more effective than small arms fire from a distance. So it could mean actual explosives from like rifle grenades or mortars or bazookas, or it might mean you got squads on the same card and the grenade attack represents a close assault with hand grenades, but just also getting close up in there, so casualty chances are much higher than if you're shooting at each other across an open field. Okay, That having been said, what we need to do now is calculate the total net combat modifier. Grenade attacks stack with each other, as do concentrate fires, by the way. So in this case, though, it's a -8. Doesn't stack with the automatic weapons. They only stack with each other, and you take the worst possible one. So -8. However, they got +3 cover and +2 cover from the bocage that they're in as well. So that's a total of -3. It's almost the best result. Let's see what we get. It's a hit. Now we're going to pull and get something great. Check the line result. It's a P. Paralyzed is pretty good. So that machine gun team is now paralyzed. What that means is, in the future, if these guys weren't shooting, this automatic weapons would be replaced with from a -1 to an all-pinned +2. Unfortunately, these guys are still shooting and will still be shooting. So the fact that he's paralyzed changes nothing for our poor guys in the village here, which is unfortunate but realistic. You have to take one guy at a time. So there's still automatic weapons fire pouring into that village despite it. And very important caveat, and it reminds you, I believe right over here, right here, adjust your primary direction of fire and your volley of fire markers and activity levels anytime the map updates, except right now during 3.74. Do not adjust them. Say for the sake of argument, these guys were not involved here. These guys were dead. They were not existing. I still would not change this automatic weapons fire until we finish this segment. Then it gets reduced, because the idea is all the things are happening simultaneously. These grenade attacks are happening at the same time as the automatic weapons fire is happening, so the litter team is still exposed to the automatic weapons fire. So let's move on. So that card is now resolved. Now we got to do this poor card here. Unfortunately for the enemy, fortunately for us, this mortar spotter might still take hits from his own squads. They're firing into the village, knowing that their guy was in good cover to begin with, and they're just trusting to that. So he's got a total of +5 going on, but there is a crossfire, so the total of -2 and then +5 brings us to a +3. So let's see what happens to him. He's pinned. That's good news. He might not be able to get off as much fire. The problem is he's going to be harder to hit next time. Now, we're going to have a similar look here. +3 for the cover in the area, and +1 for being pinned means he's at +2 for his own cover. However, -1, -1, -1, -1 means he's at -2. So let's roll for the litter team at -2. He gets hit again, and unfortunately, the litter team is green now, so PL means paralyzed. So the litter team is now paralyzed. He's not a casualty yet. We can still save him. We'll try. And then the last one to update here is the mortar fire, the incoming fire here, which is bad because it's -3 and then it's an additional -1 for the tree bursts here. So that's a -4. This paralyzed squad is +1, so they're at a -3. Let's see. It's another hit. We roll to see what this green team is dealing with. It's paralyzed again, so I don't think that changes anything. So now we move on to this fire team, who is just a straight up -4, and they are also hit, but they are they're a green team also. Let's see what their result is. A casualty. C. CF means casualty and fire team. If there's only one step, you just take the first letter result. So in this case, it's another casualty over here. That squad getting torn up by mortar fire. Very good, accurate mortar fire, and we pinned the enemy too late to save them. That's the end of the combat effectiveness combat effects segment. So now we just hit the cleanup button here, which is going to remove the grenades. It's going to remove the concentrate fires. And now is when we would potentially update this automatic weapons fire because we pinned the machine gun. However, we are now still receiving automatic weapons fire from the other two directions. So it doesn't change anything at the moment. Next, we're going on to turn 5, and I'm going to try to move a little bit faster from here on out for the rest of these videos, do a little bit less tutorialing because I think I've explained most of what's going on. So let's just see what happens. We roll for company headquarters, and first platoon gets stuck over here. Everybody else moves to the top to show that they are not yet completed. Actually, I'm just going to put them. I like to put the one that I'm currently activating in the top section, and everybody else that hasn't yet activated just below it, and then units that have saved down here, etc. So let's check what company headquarters has in mind. Only 2 orders. That's bad news. Hopefully XO gets some more. He's also on the same area as the platoon here. I think what we're going to want to do is have first platoon shift fire to this farm in an attempt to maybe save that paralyzed step, or like move on to the farm, because doing so could get us to force this automatic weapons onto us. I don't think we want to do that. I think we just want to shift fire. And maybe this mortar forward observer can actually do some damage, call some fire down on here as well. In the meantime, I think we're going to activate... Second platoon doesn't not need to be activated. I think it needs to be first and third again. They're the ones that are our primary attackers here. It's disappointing that first sergeant still hasn't had much to do. I think we might risk him moving up into the woods this round because the mortar spotter is now pinned and under fire. If we check and see that mortar spotter, if he's pinned, he has to use the LAT/pinned hierarchy chart. I think that means he's not going to be doing any firing this turn. That's good news for us. So now that Company Headquarters has activated both of those platoons. Company of Headquarters. Wow. Okay. The first platoon is the blue ones here. We're going to figure out how many orders they can get. If they can't get a lot of orders, I don't want to send them somewhere new just yet. 3 is really pushing it. I could try to concentrate fire on these paralyzed team here. Or maybe send some more grenade attacks. Let's try that. Let's send another grenade attack over there. We don't have another rifle grenade, but we might still be able to do something useful. So he's going to order the mortars to open up again. And let's see how those do. 2 pulls for a line mortar. And we got the grenade symbol. So, yep, we get to do a grenade attack. It's going to be a little bit less likely to work because of the +1 from being pinned. But it's still going to help keep those guys' heads down, which is important. And next, I'm going to have him try to call in some mortar fire on this farm over here. So we're going to pull 3 cards, because of the scenario rules, and see if we get an explosion on any of them. Dang it. Let's exhort that guy, maybe. No, let's save this. Let's save this last thing here. Instead, third platoon is probably going to assault the secondary objective here. They've got good cover if the enemy attacks from one of these 3 places in front because of the hedgerow, the green across the top here. So I think we want to take the chance to move up there with 1 squad. So, first he's got to roll, 4 plus that is 7. So now he's going to send 1 squad up there. That was 1. And does he want to go up there himself and then put them both under cover? That seems like a thing that would be a good idea. Instead, I think he's going to spend 2 orders to, like, go under cover, send that guy out of cover. I think this is what you have to do in the regular thing. Because what's kind of weird is that when the platoon leader is out here, and somebody's undercover, he has to spend an order going under the cover, another order giving this guy the order to move or whatever, and then he has to send another order, like 3 orders to talk to a guy that's in cover, whereas it's 1 order to talk to anybody who's not in cover. Okay, it's an abstraction. I'm guessing that it works. It just feels so frustrating, right? So I think since third platoon has a bunch of these orders that we might just do that and then save the rest. Just to get them all on the same page so that we can give them all orders easily in the future. Though, I believe if he's under here, we can still do platoon orders. Anyway, next we're going to go to the initiative segment where second platoon gets to act, and they roll with the smaller number, which is a 0. All right, second platoon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of these guys going up for 2 moves, for 2 orders, and they are all exposed. Luckily, this terrain has already been scouted, and we're going to send the assault team 1 more forward here. So far, that's worked out real well for us, but partly because the enemy just hasn't been there. I don't know that we have anything else that we necessarily want to do on this open terrain thing at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and say second platoon is done. Now, we do have some things for the XO and the first sergeant. This is a different impulse. Remember, we tried to activate the mortar forward observer. We did that on the activation staff, platoon HQ staff impulse. Now we are on the CO staff initiative impulse. We can attempt to make the mortar forward observer fire again onto this farm. So we're going to do it. We're going to pull 3 cards looking for explosions. 1, 2, 3. Ram it. By the way, the XO should have gained 1 order when they were activated in this initiative, and they just spent it. So now they could instead activate this mortar and tell the mortar to shoot over there, and I think that's what they're going to try to do. The mortar's only going to pull 2 and look for a grenade. Damn it. Very arg. My guys aren't very good at this. Okay, so now we've got First Sergeant, who is in a position down here where he gains 1 order. He does not roll. That's a kind of a subtle difference between these two. But if you look, you can see that in the platoon / staff impulse, everybody draws a card and gains that number of activations. However, in the initiative segment, platoon commanders have more initiative because they're going to pull cards and they're going to get a number between 0 and 4, maybe 0 and 3. Whereas the company staff, like the XO and the first sergeant, they only gain 1 command instead of getting to pull for 1 to 3 or 0 to 3. So slightly more reliable, always able to get 1, but also slightly less reliable. So they're going to spend 2 orders to order these guys to move up here. Then they're going to move up there themselves. This is actually under a VOF, so all of those orders are going to be orders to infiltrate. This symbol right here with the guys, sort of the silhouettes of the guys, that is infiltrate. If you successfully infiltrate, you don't need to mark yourself as exposed. Now, we're not expecting fire from the spotter this turn, but we're going to try to infiltrate anyway because it doesn't cost any more than moving. The requirement is the target card or the card you came from must be under a volley of fire in order to take advantage of the chaos to secretly sneak into your new position. So, to that end, we are going to check for each of these units. Here's the first sergeant. He is going to attempt to sneak. He goes 1, 2. He fails, so he's marked as exposed. The mortar squad, are they allowed to sneak? Yes, I think it's anybody that is not got a tripod. Right. Can't have a tripod, can't have an H for heavy fire category. So now the mortar is going to attempt to infiltrate and is successful. Does not have to get marked as exposed. Now the bazooka team is also successful. Good job. Okay. So now this incoming, I know it looks scary, but the good news is that the crossfire is already there. The good news is this goes away. But in the meantime, it prevents us from being able to see out of this card. So even though we did just move this bazooka team that has a small arms combat value, normally that would mean that we place a PDF. We can't place it yet because we can't see out of this card until later. So the first sergeant moved everybody over there with the infiltrate actions. Now, does he want to do anything else? I think he wants to save his last action. So that is everybody. Now we're going to pull for general activations. And we got 1. We're going to try this whole mortar thing 1 more time. Get them on the radio and tell them to fire at the farm. 1, 2, 3. Yes, there it is. If we had access to battalion support In this mission, we don't. But if we did, then the 3 explosions would mean that we'd not only hit this farm, but 2 others of our choice adjacent to the farm. Basically, we call for support and they say, hey, the battalion guns are just available. Do you want them? Is this important? And we'd be like, heck yeah, well, sure is. But in this case, we just get a regular mortar attack, which I think is going to be a 3 HE fire mission here. If we had the artillery guy, where is he? Way over here. The artillery forward observer, he would have given us a -4 fire attack. A fire mission is the correct term. But the mortars only give us a -3, which, you know what, is still pretty good. Actually, I take it back. The artillery battalion would give us a -4 white phosphorus attack or a -5 heavy high explosive attack. But we got the mortar over on this side, and that's what we're just going to have to do. We sent the artillery field officer over here because we thought we were going to have to fight over here. Turns out the enemies were all over here. So we've got that pending now, and the enemy is going to have to deal with that soon enough. So I think that's all we can do. We've used up all of our orders. We're going to go to the enemy higher HQ. You know, I think we forgot to roll for our own headquarters event, but let's just say we missed. We got no event. But now we've got the enemy higher HQ event, and we roll out of a 10. It's a 1, and that result is evacuate casualties on turns 5 to 7. All casualties and non-US occupied cards are removed. We don't have any enemy casualties at the moment, so that also does nothing. We're going to move on now to the enemy activity segment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Random die says 1. We're going to check what this unit does. It automatically attempts a concentrate fire on the paralyzed guy here. He's going to roll 2 cards and look for the crosshairs. He misses, so nothing happens. Now we're going to try again. 1, 2, 3. We pulled a 1, so that's this squad. They are going to attempt the same thing. 1, 2. Unfortunately, they did get it, so we got to get another concentrate fire. Boy, sorry, that paralyzed team is just huddled there. I should have maybe, if I had gotten 2 orders under general initiative, I could have had these guys unpin themselves and get in the dang buildings. But right now, they're just having a really bad time of it. Okay, now we've got this squad and this squad. We roll between them, and we've got a 2, so we're now on the mortar spotter. So for this one, we roll out of a 5. It's a 1. And they're pinned on the same card as an opposing unit, and they are undercover. A 1 is no action. So they're just going to stay there and hope that they can deal with the incoming fire that's going on here. Now, finally, we have this paralyzed step here. They are pinned on the same card as an opposing unit. No, pinned while undercover. They roll a 1 to a 4. They got a 4, and that is fall back. So I got to look at the rule to this. All right, according to the priorities, the way that this works is this guy would fall backwards towards their side of the map. If they fall back off the map, they're simply removed from play. So he's gone. And I guess this grenade attack doesn't matter. He saw the mortars start to fall, and he's like, we're getting the heck out of here, and he just took off. So yeah, as soon as they were paralyzed, they decided to get the heck out of there. So that's all the enemy activity segment. The capture or retreat segment. Retreat still requires unpinned paralyzed teams that are not under a VOF, and this incoming marker doesn't go away until the mutual combat phase. So this guy is still pinned. He's going to recover at least during the pinned recovery segment. But in the meantime, we're skipping over the capture and retreat segments. So we go on retreat any unpinned litter team. No, the litter team died. That's right. No, they're paralyzed over here now. Anyway, none of that happens. We go to the fire mission update segment, which is going to remove that thing because the fire mission is over. That was from last year, and it flipped over the pending to incoming. It's a little weird that what happens is you place a pending mission in your friendly combat phase over here, but it does not block line of sight, and it does not have any other effect until here. So for the rest of your impulse, you can still see through that. You call it in, and like 30 or 40 seconds later, when we actually get to the mutual combat phase, that's when the bombs start dropping. And then from there, all the way through the following turn, until you get to the next fire mission segment, the card can't be seen through, and units on the card can't see out of. You can still see into the card, and you can shoot into the card. Can't shoot out of the card, and you can't shoot through the card for that entire time. So you call for it here. The bombs then start dropping here. You resolve the damage of the bombs, but the line of sight effects continue all the way until the next mutual combat segment, which is kind of interesting. It's a little offset, and it does kind of make sense. It just takes a little while to wrap your head around it. Anyway, that's all done. So now we're going to the potential contact evaluation segment. We did move on to this card, which means there could very well be contacts out there. And speaking of B contacts, we are now in a situation where we need to pull 2 cards to see if there's any contact here. 1, 2. Whew, we're getting super lucky there. Just for the sake of adding drama to this, I'm going to pull 2 more and see what happens. We still didn't get it. Okay, well, you can't say I didn't try. So that's gone. So let's pull 2 for this one here as well. 1, 2. Those should have been, by the way, random. I forgot about that. I'm going to pull 2 more. Again, I'm trying to keep this interesting. I feel like we're already doing really, really well so far, partly because we keep missing on these contact pulls, and it's just making the mission easier. So I want to try to keep things interesting for this. Okay, never mind. The game just wants us to have an easy mission in the end. Again, remember that we are playing this with significantly easier radio rules, right? I didn't have to spend any orders on the company headquarters, keeping it in radio line of communication with everybody over here, or moving telephone lines around or anything like that. When you play the regular scenarios, you're in full game mode and not this sort of baby mode that we're in here. To that end, let's continue on the sequence of play and sort of finish this off. Potential contact evaluation segment is done. We got rid of, oh, this one's gone. And next we go to pinned recovery segment. And now our guy down here can recover from being pinned. Good job. They're still paralyzed, but at least they're not pinned anymore. And next, we're going to move on to the combat effects segment. So up here, we have this incoming attack, which is -3. They have a total of +4 cover, so we're checking this at a +1, which is a miss. Damn it. All right, next we're going to this one here, and there's no enemies there anymore, so that just is completely ignored. Over here, this guy has 5, 6 cover because he's pinned, and the attack coming in is at a -2, so it's a +4, and it's a miss for that one too. When a squad or a unit is missed and it's pinned, it unpins them. So being missed always counts as unpinning. Meanwhile, this poor bastard here, he's only got 4 cover, and he's got -1, -2, -3. So that's a +1. That's a miss. He's no longer pinned. Next turn, we can maybe move him to safety, getting him off of that card. So that's good news. Those are the only combat parts that we have there. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's see, what's going on here? Where are we? We're moving on to the next turn. So hit cleanup, which will get rid of the concentrate fire and the grenade attack there. And then we're going to move on to turn 6. This will probably be the last turn that we do today. And based on how well we're doing here, I'm just going to call the mission and say, yeah, well, there are situations where you should play it out in most cases because there are enemy higher effects things. There are sometimes enemy higher events, is what I meant to say, that can cause counterattacks that will just place units onto the board to start attacking you, even if you don't walk on to potential contact spots. So let's continue through the rest of this mission. We'll call it, and then I will start making some videos with the first Normandy campaign using the full rule set, including all the radios and tracking ammo and everything like that. I'm very much looking forward to that. I think the tricky part of keeping your units in line of sight with your company headquarters via radio, like the importance of finding a good hill somewhere where your company HQ can sit and see line of sight in a lot of different directions, seems very valuable. It also seems like I might want to try the telephones at some point, but look how far away we got from the staging area. We'd have to also drag our telephone lines around. I'll probably try that at some point, but for now, let's continue on this one. So we check for our own higher headquarters event. We get a nothing. We then move on to check for 2 is how many company headquarters rules we got. Ay, ay, ay. Oh no, the XO is over here. Who are we going to activate? Well, let's activate, first platoon and third platoon again. So third platoon, first platoon activated, and the company headquarters is out again. And now we're going to go straight to those units. Third platoon is green here. They're just going to move and secure the secondary objective even more than they already are. That just seems like a good idea doesn't it? Yeah. So we roll for them. They get a 3. So now they have 6. They're going to spend 2 of those to move the company up to here, and everybody's exposed. Then I think they're going to try to put people into cover to have some advantage here. There's a decent chance of getting cover in the bocage here, so we might as well use it. So he's going to spend 1 to try to send this team into cover, and we pull 4 cards, and we're looking for the word cover at the top. That we got it. And then we put some cover over here. Yay, he's got cover. So he's going to spend another 1 to try to find another piece of cover for probably the weapons teams here. So let's see if he can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, he did get it. We reshuffle, and we'll get 1 more piece of cover here. We can see that because this is a 2, right, in the bottom left corner, there can only be 2 pieces of cover on this. And because it's bushes, it's only basic +1 cover. This village can have up to 3 cover, and it can be vehicle cover. Building cover. And depending upon the scenario, you pull a random number to determine what type of cover it is. It could be just a +1 basic, or it could be a light building or a strong building, and those things have different types of things. So anyway, we're going to put the weapon team in there, and then we'll spend 1 more to put the other weapons team under that. So unfortunately, this one squad is left out of cover. It is what it is. And the platoon leader himself is also out of cover. We'll just save that like as if we were going to play another round just for the heck of it. Now, let's see what first platoon gets. First platoon gets 4 orders, and they are going to advance onto the bocage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we want to leave anybody behind? We're going to leave this detached squad behind with the XO. And, you know what? They immediately, hang on. We don't want to do that. We're walking into our own lines of fire here. Instead, the first order we give has to be ceasefire, because, and this is gone, by the way, that should have been updated. The first thing he's going to give is ceasefire. These guys will not stop shooting, even though the enemy is gone, because they don't know that. The assumption is that you just assume the enemy is still there until somebody tells you otherwise. So this is me, the platoon leader, saying, it looks like the enemy's gone, stop firing. And when they stop firing, they will immediately start firing at somebody else. And there are priorities for how this works. And here you can see for friendly units, its closest card is the highest priority, then the card projecting the strongest volley of fire, and that would be this automatic team here. So we're going to go ahead and place that just like that. Now, we don't have an actual small arms attack here, and at the moment, the automatic weapons from this machine gun team that we have down here, the light machine gun is going to be projecting a -1. So everybody on this card is firing, and the best possible result we can get is a -1. Now I am going to give that platoon order to move these guys forward, and that costs 2. And now immediately 2 things change. The only guys on this card are now small arms. So that's actually going to lower this to a +0 for small arms. But the guys on this card are also immediately going to open up, which means that we're back to automatic weapons. And because it's being hit from 2 different directions, we get a crossfire modifier. So this is actually a -2 to the result. So now, because we have this guy here, he's providing a nice crossfire, a defilade, an enfilade, something like that. So those guys now probably want to, and by the way, when units move on to a card, they are allowed to, this is gone, by the way, when they ceased fire, that disappeared. They are allowed to move into cover when they arrive on the card. So I think we definitely want our machine gun team and our two-pip squad here to go into this bunker. No, we don't, because the only place they could fire if they're in the bunker is down there. So we actually don't want them in the bunker. Instead, we've got 2 things left. Let's try to get our machine gun team under cover. And on this card, it's a 4 pull. 1, 2, 3, 4. They did get the cover. And this is now able to be used for the machine gun team. Move everybody else over to show they're not under orders there. We now have 1 order left. We're going to try to call down mortar fire here one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got it again. So we get to put a pending -3 fire attack here. And it's going to include the -1 from crossfire. So that's actually a -4. Good deal. And that's the last action that first platoon can do. Second platoon gets to pull and get 1 order. Second platoon, move forward, guys. Just keep pushing up. Ooh, I picked up the card by mistake. Keep pushing up, I guess, and be exposed. Since you can, you might as well. And we can even, there's the assault team. So that was 2 orders. We can now pull out something I haven't done before. We're going to perform this supplement squad order. Any good order, 2 to 3 step squad, and an unpinned fire or assault team. We remove the team from play and add the step to the squad. So that's what we're doing right now. The fire team is getting deleted, and the squad now goes up to a 3-step unit instead. If that it was a veteran unit, that would have been useful to do before the end of the mission, I think, for experience purposes, but it doesn't matter because they were both line in this case. So now we're done with second platoon. We're going to say they're done. First sergeant, now in his initiative phase, he gains 1. And what's he going to do from there? Maybe he's, oh boy, I don't think we want him to move up into here. He's only got 2 orders. If he moves up into here, he's going to be in trouble. If he had more orders, what I would like for him to do is try to infiltrate up here. If successful, he could give the order to these guys to back the hell out, right? And then he'd be able to, because he infiltrated, he would not be exposed, and units that are not exposed are then allowed to move, so he'd be able to get out of there. Be like Spears running across the open field to link up with the other guys. But because he's only got 2 orders, he couldn't do that. He could even, if he failed to infiltrate and became exposed, he could then give the order to this guy. Then he could move into the cover and at least get some cover. But none of that is possible because he only has 2 orders right now. We didn't activate him. So we're just going to say he's chilling on this thing here. Actually, no, he's going to try to rally this paralyzed team. And I believe that, yeah, auto if there's no volley of fire. So that paralyzed team is now rallied, converted to a litter team. And now we could do it again. Rally them one more time, or leave them, and then they'll automatically carry a step back towards the casualty collection station, which is probably what I would want to do with that. Because you bring those casualty guys back, then you would be allowed to collect them for experience points, essentially. All right, and then the XO gets 1 order down here, and he's going to ask this squad to concentrate their fire. Concentrate fire on a specific enemy unit. They're going to pull 2 cards, and they're hoping to get a crosshairs. They didn't. If they did, we'd add another -1 modifier here. So instead of being a -3, -1 for crossfire, making a -4, it would be a -5, plus their 4 for cover and stuff like that. All right, but we couldn't do it. So let's do one more general. Initiative is a 2 this time, and I'm going to tell that paralyzed squad to get the heck out of there. Now that's good because that paralyzed team really needed to get out of that fire here, and unfortunately the paralyzed team cannot rally itself into a litter team. Only a platoon or staff or company headquarters can actually rally a paralyzed team. They can't rally themselves. So I'm going to try one more time to do that concentrate fire with this. Let's do it with the machine gun, I guess. No, the machine gun could jam. Let's concentrate fire with our S guy here. So we're looking for crosshairs. We didn't get it. All right, well, it was worth a shot. Anyway, so all of that happened. First sergeant, first sergeant was down here. So now we're done with that. Let's check the enemy higher HQ segment. Nothing. I'm just going to start calling those enemy events and friendly events because enemy higher headquarters event segment is just a mouthful. Enemy activity check, though. Let's do 1, 2, or 3. It is a 3. The mortar spotter here is going to, oh, unfortunately, they're not pinned anymore. So they're going to do their thing. They're going to call down fire over here. They're going to attempt to, I should say. Now, because they have the mortar concentration, they get to roll 3 times, and they're looking for the explosions. 1, 2, 3. Oh, they got us again, guys. That's just bad news. So, we want to flip that. Yep. There it is. They've got their incoming -3 mortar attack again. Next, we've got these two guys, 1, 2, and we got a 1. So this guy is firing at, let's see, I got to pull this up. He's firing not on the same card. He's not under fire and no line of sight to an opposing unit. Remove unit and place a PC marker. So in this case, because the unit that did have line of sight to it is now retreated, this guy is going to basically disappear. Woo! And he turns into I got to pull it from the PC markers thing. He turns into a potential contact A, because A was the one that was here. That's the one that spawned him. So that's gone. I think the trench stays here, though. The cover doesn't go away just because he becomes hidden. All right, so that was his thing. Now, the last one is these guys. They do have line of sight. They are under fire from a different direction to their own PDF. So that is what they're going to roll on, a 1 to a 4. They get a 2, grenade attack or concentrate fire. They can't do a grenade attack or concentrate fire because there's nobody to do it. So they keep rolling until they get a no action or a shift fire. And that is a shift fire. So this instead goes away, and they're either going to shift to here or here. They prioritize the card with the most steps. So this now becomes fire in both directions. And we now have a VOF marker, automatic weapons here. All right, so that is all of the enemy markers in the enemy activity check segment. There's no capture, no retreat. We do the fire mission update, which unfortunately, wait. Oh, I flipped it early. There should have been a fire mission here. That was flipped now. So the good news is that there's no crossfire or anything down here like we have up there. Next, we go to potential contact evaluation. We did move on to the primary objective, which means we've got to pull for this. Now, actually, we are at just engaged now. We're no longer at heavily engaged. As soon as our guy pulled back from here, we actually changed from heavy engaged to just engaged. So now PC marker Bs pull 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. We still didn't get any contact. I can't believe it. That's been like 6 cards in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5, 6. All of these rolled 0 contact. And before that, this one's rolled 0 and this one rolled 0. This one and this one and this one. We only had 3 contacts this entire game, which is, it just seems crazy because I played this mission earlier and that was not the case. I definitely fought tooth and nail a lot more on an earlier one. I think we just got super lucky here. Anyway, that contact evaluation step is over. Pinned recovery segment. Anybody that's pinned and not under a VOF would get up. That's not the case anywhere. So let's just resolve the fire. Over here, we have incoming -3, -4 for crossfire, but they have +4 for the trench and for the cover of the farm. So they are at 0, which is a miss. Dang it. And then we've got the VOF incoming over here. Now, every one of these units needs to deal with this incoming fire. It's a good thing we put our machine gun, our light machine gun, under cover here. Let's deal with them first. They have a -1, but a +3. You know what? You guys just moved on here. Everybody here should be exposed. I think I screwed that up. They were not able to infiltrate up there because there was no VOF, so they should all be exposed. Anyway, so the machine gun team is now -3, but +1 for the cover and +2 for... Oh, no. It's only +1 because the fire's coming across a white border. Oh, that's very bad. Okay, so the total is -3, but +2. So this is a -1 for the machine gun. And it's pinned. That's not great. Which is going to lower this in the future. Then we've got everybody else here who's not undercover. And they are all going to be at a -2 right? -2 here, +1, -1. Yeah. So here's the platoon headquarters at a -2. Hit. Uh-oh. P for paralyzed. That's not great. I think that means that he's basically out of commission. We would have to bring the company headquarters, or the company XO would have to come over and take over as the first platoon leader, because that cannot go back. The assumption there is that the lieutenant in charge of that platoon has been incapacitated in some way. So he still might have runners and or radio men with him, or a staff person, map person, whatever, but the actual leader is now incapacitated. So that's real bad. Here's another -2. Yes. And that's a hit. Okay. And the hit is an A. So that's not terrible. And then we've got the mortar squad, which is also a -2. That's a pin. Okay. We'll take that result as not too bad. Here's another squad where the -2 is a hit with an A. And then here's the mortars. -2 is a hit with a P. I think that also means the mortars are removed from play, and they might come back at some point, but not really. So next up, oh, that's everybody. Okay. Next, we would go to the mortar spotter, who's dealing with, by the way, this PDF is gone, which means that they are not receiving any fire on this card. That should have been updated earlier when this card went away and this guy shifted. So actually the mortar spotter's done. We just moved down here to the woods, and it's a -3, but it's a +2, so it's a -1 for everybody. Here's the first sergeant at -1, a miss. Here's the paralyzed guys. They're at -1 also. They are pinned. Here's our mortar. They are pinned. And here's our bazooka team, also pinned at -1, and the litter team also pinned at -1. We got pretty lucky there to not take any more losses. All right, so that is the end of this turn 6. We would be starting turn 7, but right now, aside from this big mess right here, which I'll admit, it's definitely a big mess, especially, no, we still have the A is, I guess, firing in the correct direction. Or maybe the S is the highest one now. I think we need to replace this with a small arms, because the machine gun team can only exert an all-pinned small arms, or sorry, VOF. Anyway, what I would do next is move the XO up here on the next turn. I would give them orders. They would definitely try to get them. And then they would attempt to reconstitute a team. The attempt to reconstitute squad? No. Attempt to reconstitute a command, a headquarters. I think it's on here. Yeah, reconstitute a platoon headquarters. So the company headquarters, or the XO, will give himself the order to reduce the recipient by 1 step or remove. Okay, so he would give an order to, like, this squad and promote them. Or he would remove himself and put the company headquarters, the platoon headquarters back on the card. So that would get him back over there, and that would allow him to potentially unpin these guys, call in more fire on this thing to stop it. Although the good news is, right now, after that combat phase was over, these guys are no longer under fire. Because the fact that all the mortars came in over here, even though the mortars missed this machine gun squad, all of the explosions block line of sight out of this card, which means that these guys have a chance to get themselves rallied while not under fire. And that's better than nothing. Specifically, the XO can maybe do something with them and get some effective fire going back against the farm. So that's going to be the end of this video here. The next video I'm going to put together is going to be with the Normandy, the first Normandy mission, using all of the rules for, well, hopefully all the rules. I hope I don't miss too many of them. All of the special radio rules, the ammunition rules, all of that stuff. And we'll see how well it plays. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.